Hello guys, this is Beneficial Gamer here, and welcome to my behind the scenes video / review of 2020 so far. So we are currently in the month of June, pretty much halfway through the year, and I gotta say 2020 has been quite crazy. Not really the best way to start off a decade, but I'm not really gonna spend time on this video talking about what's been going on in the world. This is mainly about me and my channel, like what's been going on with that. So I guess the best way to start is the beginning of the year when I pretty much revamped my channel to Beneficial Gamer. So I've been on YouTube for, it'll be 10 years when August rolls around. So when I first initially started, my username was Bentendo222, and everyone called me Bentendo for short. And I mean, it was a very nice username. A lot of people liked it, a lot of people thought it was kind of dorky, but I mean, hey, I am a dorky person, so. And when I started thinking about revamping my channel, I thought maybe I should change my name, as much as the name Nintendo is nice. So, eventually I thought about, what if I changed my name to Beneficial Gamer? Because the word beneficial and has the name Ben in it, or the word Ben in it. And I thought it would be a little nice pun for my name. At one point I did think about naming myself Benjaficial Gamer, like Benjamin, Benjaficial, but it sounded kind of weird, so I just kept it simple and made it Beneficial Gamer. Now the thing about my channel was, I uploaded all kinds of videos back then. Like, I never really stuck to one. I mean, it's nice to have variety, but like, and you don't want to have too much variety. And that's kind of what I did. And another thing I lacked was scheduling of my videos. I mean, I didn't really take YouTube too seriously. It was just more of a hobby. And I pretty much just made and uploaded videos whenever I wanted to. And obviously, I mean, for most of the time I was on YouTube, I was still going to school, so I was dealing with school and other things, you know. But, you know, as 2020 approached, I was thinking, you know, YouTube would be something I want to dedicate my time to. So, pretty much revamping was the best thing I could think of. Starting fresh, making sure I don't have too much variety, being on a consistent schedule, and making sure content gets uploaded every week. And I personally thought the year started out pretty nicely. Till about late February, early March, I'd say, when things got a bit rocky with the coronavirus hitting, and personal stuff like divorce happening. It's like all those things combined, like they just combined together and they pretty much messed up my flow for quite a while. But at this point, I'd say things have been a bit better than they had been. The only struggle I could really think of is dealing with my inconsistent work schedule. Like, they always have me working whatever day of the week they want me to work. They don't have me work set days like they used to. So it's just like, my days off are inconsistent. It's like sometimes I'll get one day off in a row. Sometimes I'll get 2 days off in a row. It's just random. And as a result of that, I don't really have a consistent schedule for my channel. Like, I don't have a schedule for what days I'm streaming because it's pretty much whenever I'm off is when I'll stream. When people ask, hey, when are you streaming next? Whenever I'm off. And I really wish it didn't have to be that way, because I'd like to have a consistent schedule so people know when I'll be going live. But the least I can do for the time being is say that most of the time my streams will start at 7 Central, and they usually last about 2 hours long, so there you go. Now if you guys are wondering, why don't I stream on a day that I work, like maybe before or after my shift? Well, here's the thing, I work a really weird shift. Like, my shifts go from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. Obviously I'm not going to stream in the morning, because, I mean, streaming is something you would want to do at night when no one's busy. And it's just like 11 o'clock, 11 Central is a bit too late, in my opinion. So there's your answer for that. It's best to just do it on my days off, which, like I said, are random, and I can't really do much about that. But yeah, before we get into some behind the scenes stuff with the videos, I'd like to thank you guys very much for over 400 subscribers. As of this recording, I'm at 414. So I'm really hoping this channel continues to grow. And I've noticed that much of the subscribers come from my streams, like at least this year. Because I've noticed when I started streaming back in late March, that's when my subscriber count started really going up, which I am very excited for that. But if you guys are here for just the streams, that's cool. But I mean, I definitely encourage you guys to check out my reviews. Which, speaking of, if you haven't seen my reviews, I'd highly suggest you check them out before coming back to this video, because I'm going to be talking some behind the scenes stuff for these reviews. So let's go ahead and kick things off with the first review that I've done, which is my Pokemon Snap review. Now, this initially started off as a Pokemon spin-off video. Like, I was going to do a video where I talk about ideas I had for Pokemon spin-off games, because I've noticed that there's been a huge lack of Pokemon spin-off games that aren't mobile. Because I know they're focusing a lot on mobile games nowadays, and it kind of ticks me off. I loved the old Pokemon spin-off games like Pokemon Snap, Hey You Pikachu. Yeah, that a lot of people didn't like Hey You Pikachu, but that was like a guilty pleasure for me. Pokemon Stadium, like the mini games. One of the ideas I had was for like a Mario Party style Pokemon game, and like the mini games would be very reminiscent of the ones you play in the Pokemon Stadium games. But yeah, so basically my video was going to be talking about ideas like that, and one of them was Pokemon Snap, a sequel to Pokemon Snap, which, by the way, was revealed just recently, and I'm freaking excited for it. But, so I decided to boot up my Wii U and start capturing footage of the original Pokemon Snap to play over the segment where I talk about the sequel. And I realized when playing it, this is such a fun game. I hadn't played it in a long time, and I totally forgot how fun it was. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a review on Pokemon Snap, because I mean, there's a lot of good things to talk about the game, and I thought the video turned out pretty good. I thought some of the jokes were pretty funny. I mean, honestly, the only thing I could really think of that I could have done differently was make that dance segment a bit shorter, or maybe cut it all together. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I thought it was a great way to start off doing reviews. Alright, and then 2 weeks later I released a review on a game called Kamiko, which was this indie game that was released a couple years ago on Steam and on the Switch. And I'm not too happy with this one, honestly. I mean, it wasn't a bad review, but there just wasn't a whole lot to talk about. I mean, it was a fun game, I'll give it that. And I first heard about it when I was watching a live stream of my friend who goes by Duh Wi-Fi. She was streaming Nier Automata, I think, and someone who was watching brought up a game called Kamiko, and curiosity piqued, and I searched it up, and I was like, you know what? This game looks fun. I'll get it on the eShop. Which, by the way, I got on sale for like $1.99. I think the original price was $4.99. Yeah, it was $4.99, because I remember in the script I wrote $5.99 because I was thinking it was $5.99, but it was actually $4.99. But yeah, I didn't really have much to say about the game. It was a pretty short review, and probably my least favorite out of all of them. But I mean, I had fun when I initially made it. I gotta stop saying initially a lot. My Five Nights at Freddy's review definitely has to be my favorite out of all of my early reviews. I had so much fun thinking of jokes, writing the script, and just ultimately putting it together. Like, I'd be at work thinking of some funny ideas for the video, and then finally when I put it together and actually see it before my eyes, there's nothing quite like that feeling. Like, if you think of a funny idea and you actually make it happen, it's just amazing. And I'll talk more about that later, like when I talk about my later reviews. So this review is, in a way, kind of like a joke review. And what I mean by that is the fact that I'm a wuss who hates horror games reviewing a horror game. And I ultimately end up putting cheats on to get through the rest of the game because I don't want to be jump scared. So I decided to have a little fun with that, and I mean, I thought it was a little interesting kind of perspective. Another thing I really liked about this review was the lighting in some of the parts where it shows me. Because, I mean, it's a horror game, and I thought, you know, let's go with a darker lighting. I mean, obviously it was still bright enough so you could see my face. And another interesting aspect was when the power went out in the game, I made the room darker to kind of go along with that. And then when the backup power goes out to where it's like pitch black in the game, that's where it's not completely pitch black when it shows me, but like the only light that was on was like a lamp in the corner. But if you look very closely, you could see me eating a slice of pizza, waiting for my death. So yeah, I remember putting a lot of effort into this one, and I definitely enjoyed how it turned out, and I hope you guys did too. And oh yeah, I went out of my way to roast Smash competitors who don't wear deodorant. Alright, so my last review I did before going on a little hiatus and retiring from doing Facecam, for now, was my Sonic R review. And the biggest thing with this review was the fact that the Sonic the Hedgehog movie was coming out, so, I mean, it made sense to make a review of a Sonic game. And out of all the games, I picked Sonic R. Well, I picked it because it holds a bit of nostalgia for me. I actually enjoyed this game when I was little. I know a lot of people didn't really like Sonic R. People thought it was mediocre at best. But I mean, yeah, I admit the controls aren't that good, and like if they just made the controls a bit better, the game would have been better. But I liked this game as a kid. Now as for the review, it was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't anything too spectacular. Like, I mean, it definitely doesn't live up to my Five Nights at Freddy's review in my opinion. Definitely better than the Kamiko review. I'd say Pokemon Snap was probably a bit better than that. So like, ranking from least favorite to favorite, it would be Kamiko, Sonic R, Pokemon Snap, and then Five Nights at Freddy's for these 4 reviews. But going back to the Sonic review, there was one thing I originally planned for it that I ended up scrapping, and it was probably for the best, honestly. So I mentioned that there were a set of vocal tracks that played on each stage in the game. I was going to go into more detail on each of the tracks, as well as the songs that play in them, and then it would cut to me singing a portion of each of them. I was pretty excited for the idea, but then when I started recording my voice, when I started recording myself singing these songs, and then I played them back, I wasn't really too happy with it. Like, I just felt like my dreams were crushed. But joking aside, yeah, you know that feeling when you're like trying to sing, and you feel like you sound so good, but then when you play it back, it's just like, ugh, that does not sound good. That's how it was with this, so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and scrap the idea. I'm not gonna sing. It's probably for the best. But yeah, that was my Sonic R review. And that was the last Facecam video I did. And I went on hiatus until May. And like I said, the reason for this hiatus was personal stuff / corona, divorce, you know. the typical stuff. Okay, not really, but you know. So I moved back in with my parents, and the internet here is definitely a lot better than when I was living with my ex. Because, I mean, we lived out in the country, which internet isn't terrible, but you can't stream for shit. And that was one thing I definitely wanted to start doing, was streaming, because I knew that would be a good way to get more people in, and jumping to present day, I was right. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of streams for a couple reasons. One, to keep the channel going, because I didn't want to not upload anything for a month. And two, I mean, I was having a lot of fun with it. Like my Animal Crossing streams and Smash streams. I was meeting a lot of new people, and just things were great. But I knew I wanted to get back into doing my reviews again soon. And I had a few ideas of what I could review, but one thing I had a problem with was I going to do face cam again? Because the room I'm in is not really a suitable room to be filming, because there's a bunch of junk everywhere. And I don't mean that like the room is messy. What I mean is, like, before I moved back, this room was like a big closet for things that my mom didn't have room for in her main closet, if that makes sense. And then I thought of an idea. What if I recorded footage of my Animal Crossing character sitting on the couch? Because not only would this be a nice alternative, but I could also decorate the room however I want to make it look like a nice little video game setup. And I could download canvases like that people made and make that posters. Or I can make my own. I mean, either way. And I still had to think about what I'm doing for a review. Like I said, I had a few ideas, but some of them just weren't sticking enough for me. And then during one of my Animal Crossing streams, I met a guy who goes by Ozzy a lot. When I first met him, I thought he was pretty cool. I mean, we went to each other's islands, he subscribed and joined my Discord, started posting funny memes. And one of those funny memes he posted would eventually start playing a big role in my videos. For those who've seen my videos, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The one, the only, Bald James Charles. So, moving on, Ozzy eventually joined my voice chat with the voice mod program. And one of the voices you can choose from is called Titan, which makes your voice sound like Thanos. So it made his voice a bit deeper, and we started talking, joking around, and he started messing around with that voice, and eventually we started talking about the Bald James Charles picture, and we made a joke about James Charles going Super Saiyan, but instead of growing spiky hair, he turns bald and spits out his teeth. And then he started shouting "Hi sisters," like with the voice, and I was thinking, this is hilarious, this is so funny. And then later on, I was like, you know, what if he was in my videos? What if Bald James Charles was in my videos? And that, my friends, is why Bald James Charles makes all these appearances in my videos. And the first video to feature him is my LSD Dream Emulator review, which, it's your typical review of this weird Japan-only PlayStation 1 game. But the real meat of this review is the beginning part, where you see me, or my Animal Crossing character, waking up in a dark room, only to be confronted by Bald James Charles. And he welcomes me in what he calls the ludicrous sleep dimension, or LSD for short. Because that's the thing, I'm reviewing LSD Dream Emulator, and one of the jokes with LSD, like mainly in the openings of the game, was like that it has no official acronym. Like in the openings, it has all these different acronyms for what it possibly means. And I was like thinking, maybe I could make a joke out of that. Ludicrous sleep dimension. And Bald James Charles is a ludicrous sleep demon. Because in one of my streams, or I don't know if it was a stream or if it was like if it was not off stream, but Ozzy mentioned something about Ball James Charles being a paralysis sleep demon. I was like, I think that's what initially gave me the idea for the LSD. I was thinking, what role would Ball James Charles play in my videos? And like, I thought about how he called him a sleep demon. I was like, LSD. I mean, LSD Dream Emulator is about seeing a bunch of weird things. Ball James Charles is a weird creature. So, I mean, I thought putting it together would make kind of sense. And then I kind of made lore out of it too, which will be expanded upon in future videos, so look out for that. So the story is Ball James Charles kidnaps me, traps me in this weird sleep dimension. I wasn't having it, but he's not gonna let me leave. I tell him I don't got time for this, I need to make reviews. He was like, oh, you can make your reviews here. And then I was like, okay, I'll stay. Nothing too major, nothing too revealing, but just a simple way to kind of kick things off. So I pretty much kicked off kind of a story arc going on. It's still ongoing, obviously, but I mean, there are going to be some reviews that don't continue the story, like my Pocket Rumble review. This makes my second review I did on an obscure indie title, the first obviously being Kamiko, and unlike that one, I actually thought this one turned out really well. Now, one thing in the video was that I was complaining about the controls and how I was trying to do certain inputs, but I ended up doing completely different ones. And I was like, I'm not sure if my controller's busted or if it's just a bug in the game. I think the problem was my controller and that it drifts. Because I noticed with other games, I use the same controller, that I end up doing something that I don't mean to. Like in one game, Crypt of the Necrodancer, there's a certain button you can press to drop a bomb, but I noticed that sometimes I end up dropping a bomb by moving the control stick, and it's like I didn't mean to. And then another example being Animal Crossing New Horizons, sometimes when I open up the tool ring that you can get, and I move it, sometimes I accidentally close it. So yeah, I think it's because my controller is drifting, so my bad on that one. Another thing worth mentioning in my videos is the LSD log at the beginning. So this is basically my way of kind of keeping the story going, reminding people that there is a story going with my reviews. But also, I'm not doing a story for every single review. Like, some of them are just going to be reviews and nothing more. Like, no Ball James Charles at the beginning, no Ball James Charles interrupting my video, no Ball James Charles at the end. Because those take a bit more time and effort to do than just a simple review. It's just like, I want to give myself a little breather, give my viewers a breather, so just let them enjoy a simple review. Obviously give Ozzy a breather, because I don't want to be feeding him Ball James Charles voice lines for days. But yeah, to compensate for that, I put the LSD logs, which, I mean, there'll be LSD logs for videos that have plot in it. I also have placed some Ball James Charles cameos, and will continue to do so in videos he's not officially in. Like, just watch through the video and look closely in some scenes, and see if you can spot him. He appears 2 times in my Pocket Rumble review, so I definitely would go back there and check it out. But now we're finally at my most recent review, which is of Baldi's Basics in Education and Learning. Now this video, oh my gosh, this was a lot of fun to do. It took a lot of effort though. Like, I've had this one in the back burner since sometime after I made the LSD review, I think. So it wasn't enough to just review the game and have Ball James Charles appear in it. I mean, obviously, I had to have Ball James Charles in this video because, I mean, Baldi and Ball James Charles, they're both bald. Well, Baldi has like 1 strand of hair. Ball James Charles has none. But anyway, my crazy ass didn't think it was enough to just do a review. I decided I was gonna mod Baldi's Basics and replace Baldi with Ball James Charles, which it wasn't really difficult to do. I mean, it was a bit tedious, but it was pretty funny, like, seeing this all come together. And I remember when I sent a screenshot of Ball James Charles replacing Baldi, he was just like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe this, like, I hate you for reminding me this game exists. I mean, he was joking, obviously, but, so I asked him to record a few lines for this mod that I'm using as a joke for the video. Like, the joke is that Ball James Charles made a mod where he replaces Baldi with himself, and he went into my files in the computer and replaced it, and it's just like, I was not expecting it. So it's just like, when you see me boot up the game and it's Ball James Charles, I'm just like, what the heck? And then of course Ball James Charles comes right in after he sees my initial reaction. So yeah, this is when Ball James Charles really starts interacting with me more and starts kind of getting in the way of my reviews. I mean, the first appearance was basically, hi, I dropped you off in this dimension, have fun. But then this is when he really starts coming in to play and pretty much screwing around, annoying me. I mean, he's got bigger plans, but I mean, those won't be revealed for a while. But I mean, right now he's just screwing with me with this mod he made. So at the end of the video, it shows me asking Ball James Charles, hey, why am I here? And he responds by saying that he's helping me escape from my miserable life, even though it's not really that miserable. And he brings me to a personalized paradise. And that's the thing with, like, the ludicrous sleep demons. I'm still kind of workshopping the lore of the ludicrous sleep demons, but what I have is that they take victims from the real world and bring them to the dimension, and they're basically like little sub-dimensions where they are personalized in a way that the victims will feel comfortable and safe until further noticed. But that's all I'm going to say about that for now. And I just figured that would be a nice way to kind of explain why my character is in the Animal Crossing universe. I know it's all weird. Like, I know this whole Ball James Charles thing in the LSD is weird. But I mean, it goes back to the LSD review where, I mean, LSD Dream Emulator is a weird game. So it's just like, that's kind of the whole point. Like, if you guys think this is weird, I mean, that's kind of the whole point of this whole thing. I mean, Ball James Charles is weird. Like, and I gotta say, like, the whole concept of him is just hilarious to me. Like, there are times where I just, like, look at him and just laugh because of how absurd his appearance is. And then whenever I, like, watch back footage of him and then, like, Ozzy voicing him, it's just outright hilarious. And I've said this many times, I'll say it again, Ozzy does a wonderful job voicing Ball James Charles. Like, I'm just thinking back, it's just like, I never expected this to happen, like, with my videos. Like, I never expected this is the direction I was going to be taking with my videos. And I know Ozzy definitely wasn't expecting to voice a floating, bald-headed, toothless version of a makeup YouTuber. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how far this story's come, and I really can't wait to tell the rest of it. I don't really have a full scope of what's going to be going on. I mean, I have ideas for more reviews and more plot, but I don't have, like, the full picture ready yet. But I really can't wait to get it all organized and put together and then have the rest of the story come out for you guys. So I really hope you guys look forward to more reviews, more craziness going on in the LSD, more Ball James Charles, and new characters too. Hopefully I'll be able to collab with some other people, and maybe they can voice characters in my reviews, and it's just a lot of potential. I'm pretty excited. I hope you guys are too. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. I know it was a bit lengthy, I apologize for that, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. And I hope you look forward to more content coming from me, more streams, more reviews. And I want to thank you guys once again for over 400 subscribers. I hope you all continue to stick around and support me, and hopefully we'll all get to watch this channel grow together. And yeah, stay tuned for more videos. I will catch you guys later. This is Beneficial Gamer, signing off.